boys and girls, this is Mrs. Kelly coming to you from my at-home art studio. This is a space where I make a lot of the things that I love to do when I'm at home. I'm going to give you a quick little tour of it. I'm going to move you around a little bit so you guys can see. Behind me, I use my laptop for looking up images, and I have a nice workspace here and a nice big natural window right there to let in a lot of natural light, which is really important for artists when we're working. So here is where I love to make things when I'm at home. And today I wanted to show with you a few different things. Some of the things that I love to do when I'm on my own, and then also some things that you guys can do, and an example for a lesson that we sent out for you for this week. So first of all, last night I was trying to play around with some different things I could make just using typical things that you would normally find in an elementary classroom. So I wanted to see what could I do with Crayola markers rather than just coloring a picture. So this is not watercolor, this is actually Crayola markers, and I experimented with it and found out that if you take Crayola markers and color just shapes, lines, and colors like you normally would, and then add a little bit of water to it with a paintbrush, you can actually turn them into something that looks like watercolor. So I had a lot of fun time experimenting with this last night. This is just a piece of paper I took out of my sketchbook. So if you have a sketchbook, you could do the same thing, but if not, I also made a smaller one on a 3x5 card. So this is a great way to do little mini experiments. You can kind of see a closer look of this one. A 3x5 card is something typically teachers and parents will have around in their office space for taking notes or writing things on. So you could also ask your parents if they have any cardstock or a 3x5 card that you could also work on. This one is got watercolor first, so I did, Crayola marker first. I took the markers and I colored them around in different lines, shapes, and colors, and then I took a paintbrush and I took just a little tiny bit of water. Less water is best when you're doing this, I found. And then I kind of moved the marker around and turned it into watercolor, and I let it dry for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then after it was dry, I added more lines and shapes and colors using marker right on top of the marker that I made. And then also for finishing detail, you can see really closely, I added some oil pastel to kind of give it more of a creamy painted effect. So if you have some of these things at home, you could try one of these little experiments too. It was a lot of fun. And what's great is when you make something small, if you mess up and you don't love it, that's okay. You don't have to keep it. So other thing I wanted to show you is some things that I love to paint and draw when I'm at home. I made this little guy. I love to do things from nature. And I actually made this for Mrs. Balish. So those of you who know the 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Balish, this is a little tiny birdie that I made for her. And I haven't given it to her yet because I haven't seen her very much. And I wanted to make a frame for her too, so shh, don't tell her. Also, I love to do other things from nature too. This is my little bee that I've been working on most recently since we've had our little break here. You can kind of see if I hold him up close, you can see how he's got lots of line detail on him using a permanent marker. But then also, I use a lot of texture and pattern too when I'm using things from nature. So this week our theme is all about pattern, and you can find a lot of pattern in nature around you and in your spaces. So for our lesson this week, we're doing a pattern collage. And we designed it so that at home, you could pretty much do it with whatever you have on hand. I know a lot of you have brothers and sisters at home with you, so you could work together on this. You could have your parents help you, or you could choose to do it alone. Making patterns with all different kinds of magazine scraps or paper and cutting and pasting and gluing and making a collage out of them is one way to do it, which is a great way. You can also draw the patterns just using pencil or marker or colored pencils, whatever you have at home. But the first part of it is to really start with the hunt. And the hunt is like a scavenger hunt. So you can look around in your spaces and see, where can I find patterns around me? I started off by looking at clothing because I love patterns on my clothes. I have way too many. This was a sock a pair of socks my husband gave me for Christmas from the artist Keith Haring, who's a very famous American artist. And I love these socks, so I decided to take a photograph of these for my pattern collage to use in mine. So clothing is a great place to find pattern. Here's another example of one that I used in my pattern collage. This is a scarf. Happy St. Pat's Day, right? Scarves or any kind of prints or things your mother would have is a definitely fantastic place to find pattern. As you can see on my shirt, I'm wearing a pattern too, right on here. Another place you can find pattern is in fabrics around your home. So behind me is a rug. You can see that's my living room rug, which is a great example of a pattern you can find in your home. But then also I used nature too. So I looked at plants in my house and I took pictures because plants have patterns on them with their veins and the way they grow. I also looked at you can see my fireplace right there. That has a rock pattern on it. I took a photograph of that. And then even my wood floor behind me has a pattern created by nature. So all those are great places that you can find pattern in your home to use. Here's an example of what I'm gonna be posting online for you guys to look at. This is my pattern collage. And I did mine with technology. And that is another great way to do it. If you have a parent that has a cell phone and they let you use it, or a big brother or a big sister who might have a cell phone, or even if you do, if you're lucky enough, you can take pictures with your cell phone. And I downloaded this little app called PicCollage. There are a lot of apps that are free that let you do all sorts of cool things with photographs. And so this was an app called PicCollage, and I took all those pictures I made and I collaged them in the app, and I printed it out on my printer, and I have this beautiful pattern collage. You see this one up top, I even used markers from my studio here to make a pattern out of. So art supplies are another cool thing to make patterns out of too. But anyway, I will post this on my Instagram page and also in an email to your parents so you guys can all see my examples. And I can't wait for you to show me examples that you guys make. I'm gonna be putting examples on my Instagram page for all of you to check out. So if you send me examples that you made, I'm gonna collage those together and put them on Instagram for you guys to see all different kinds of patterns your friends have done too. My Instagram page for all of you to see is called The Inspired Art Room, if you haven't heard. So it's _inspired_art room. And maybe you could have a big sister or a big brother or a mom or a dad help you find it so you could kind of see what other people are making too. I can't wait to see everything you guys make and show me. I hope you guys are having a nice time with your family at home and having some special memories being made just like I am. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.